I wish we were a better topic, honestly, because this is outrageous. I mean, what we are learning here about this secret program, the details just keep getting worse and worse, Congressman. So correct me if I'm wrong on any of these details here, but from what we know, from at some point in 2016 to at some point in 2019, at least 15 individuals, maybe more, voluntarily signed away their right to keep and bear arms when the FBI showed up at their house, or maybe it was the Secret Service or ICE, and presented them with this form and pressured, maybe didn't pressure them, but I don't know. They presented a form and said, here, sign this form and you won't be able to buy a gun, and then we'll leave. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, Cam. That is the way I understand it. I mean, can you imagine the FBI showing up at your door and wanting to inquire about, your life, and then saying, hey, here's a form that if you fill it out, that, will go away. And that's just incredibly concerning. It's troubling. Every citizen has a constitutional right to keep and bear arms, every solitary one. There is no provision that I'm aware of in the federal government. And as you know, I've been a federal firearms licensee for a very long period of time, over 30 years. But there's no provision for someone to do that short of an actual judicial court hearing and be, and be judged, incompetent, or to be, adjudicated such by a court. The executive branch and the judicial branch are different, as well as the legislative branch. We have three equal branches here. And for the FBI to be able to do this is wrong. And it warrants immediate and aggressive congressional oversight. And I think that is where we're going to go with this, because here you have a form that somebody created. I haven't yet seen a form number on it. And as you know, every federal form has a form number, like a 4473, like
right.
Which I buy a gun on, ATF form 4473. I haven't seen that form number. That form number, I think, will give us some history as to where the form came from, who approved it, how did it get created, and then how did it get distributed, who's using it. We need to know all of those answers, because this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. The executive branch doesn't get to make those decisions.
Yeah. I mean, so I want to go back and touch on a couple of things that you said. First of all, as an FFL, you're right. You have a pretty good idea of what the federal law is regarding firearms. And in order for you to become prohibited under federal law, you either have to be convicted of a prohibiting offense, right? Either a felony or a domestic violence misdemeanor, right. Or you have to be adjudicated.
That's correct.
As mentally defective. So the first question is this even legal? Is this form even legal? Are these people who signed these forms, are they being wrongfully denied their ability to purchase a firearm because of this?
You're right. Is it even legal? That's why it's so important to pull the string on this form and find out who created it, where did it come from, who approved it, and how it's been distributed. I mean, we know right now that it has been used by the FBI, it has been used by the Secret Service, and it has been used by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. So who else has it been used by? Is it being used by the Veterans Administration? For veterans who maybe are battling PTSD right now, and they potentially, if they sign this form, they could lose their Second Amendment rights for their entire life. Because you know that once you get on this NICS database, even the form itself says you may not come off. All right. So that's really, really disturbing to me, which is why I said it warrants aggressive congressional oversight to see why, where, when, who approved it, and then how many times has it actually been used?
Yeah. And is this still in place? I know the FBI said that they stopped using this form in 2019, although they haven't said why. But to the best of my knowledge, and correct me again if they've provided this information, have they said whether or not this form was replaced by another? Is there something, some similar practice taking place right now that we don't know about? How confident are you that that's not the case at the moment?
I'm not confident at all that that's not the case at the moment. They say they stopped using it in 2019. Okay. I don't know if I believe that. As you know, and I know, a lot has come out lately about the FBI and what they're doing. And there's a lot I don't believe. And rightfully so. I think we've got good evidence that what the FBI is doing in numerous cases, Hunter Biden laptop story, for example, is just wrong. So are they giving us the straight story on this form? Have they replaced it with another form? Oh yeah, we're not using that form anymore. We're using another form now. I mean, that's bait and switch. And the federal government, the FBI, they're very smart folks, and they can mince words and make you believe one thing, and where something else may actually be what's happening. No, again, this warrants aggressive congressional oversight. I think that's the third time I've said it. And I introduced a resolution of inquiry last month, which went through judiciary, and the Democrats shot it down. But that's okay. We'll be in the majority here in just a month or so, and in less than a month. So we'll have the opportunity to introduce it again. That resolution of inquiry demands from the President of the United States and from the Attorney General all information regarding this form in an unredacted form. So we're going to get to the bottom of this. We have already highlighted it to the administration. We've already put them on notice. So I fully expect that when the 118th Congress comes in, then and I'm sworn in, then we will drop this resolution again rather quickly, because we are going to find out the truth. That's why we're here, to find out the truth and to expose it to the American people.
You talk about some of the other scandals that we have going on in our nation's capital right now, and obviously this is just a one of them. I'm curious. I'm so glad that this is on your radar. But when you've talked with your colleagues, maybe not your colleagues from across the aisle, it seems like they've got no interest in getting to the bottom of this. But what are your fellow conservatives and fellow Republicans saying about this? Is this going to be a big issue, you think, for Congress overall when the next session of Congress is sworn in?
Oh, I think this is a very serious issue. I think the Judiciary Committee is going to be, as well as the Oversight Committee, and I'm on the Oversight Committee. We're gonna review this. We're gonna take this up, and whether we actually have an open public hearing on it is one thing. But a lot of our work actually happens behind closed doors, in things like depositions, in demand letters, in subpoenas, that sort of thing. So we may have a public hearing on it, we may not. But I will tell you, we will get to the bottom of it. We will get, and we'll get to the truth of the matter here. And I think that the American people, because this has to deal with a constitutional right, the Second Amendment of our Constitution, which defends and protects our First Amendment, the most important amendment of all, it will be something that will warrant congressional time. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Listen, Representative Clyde, I can't thank you enough for your time today. One last question for you. Given that Republican control of the House thankfully means that Joe Biden's legislative anti-gun agenda is going to be dead in the water for a couple of years, I think that that makes it far more likely that he is going to continue to use and abuse his executive power to get the ATF to implement all kinds of new regulations and impositions on gun owners. We've already seen, I guess, the ATF moving forward with their pistol stabilizing brace rule. How concerned are you that there's even more coming down the pike? I mean, you got gun control advocates right now who are, whispering to the president's ear, hey, these semi-automatic firearms, they're like machine guns. They're readily convertible to machine guns. You could ban them through executive action. You don't need a vote in Congress. How concerned are you that we might see the Biden administration, deploy their anti-gun nuclear option, so to speak, and try to follow the advice that they're getting from the gun control lobby right now?
Well, we have seen President Biden time after time issue executive order after executive order, which is not legal. An executive order is an order to tell the executive branch how to faithfully implement existing law. It does not give the president the ability to create law, and he would be creating law here, but that doesn't mean he won't try. and I believe he will try. You're right, his legislative agenda will be firewalled because of the Republican majority in Congress, but that doesn't mean his executive branch authority through an executive order is firewalled. No, I think you're right. I think we have to be on guard for that, and I think that that we're going to have to do everything possible to make sure that every executive order that he issues passes the legal test, which means they need to be challenged. So I agree with you 100%, Cam.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you joining us on the program today. I'm glad we've got somebody with your expertise and experience in the firearms world on the oversight committee. I think that's going to be hugely beneficial for gun owners going forward. And Representative Andrew Clyde, hope you have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and look forward to talking to you again in 2023.
Thank you, Cam. Next time we talk, we'll be the majority. So
yes, sir.